Cuomo has been facing potential legal ramifications as well. So what happens with all of that? To help us break that down is our legal expert, Florina. Florina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
First question for you is a bit of a two-parter. Is Cuomo's resignation an admission of guilt, and could it be used against him in any potential criminal or civil cases?
So it is not a direct admission of guilt. And in fact, the statement that he's making is that he's stepping down to allow government to carry on and function, since him staying on would have been a distraction. He's in no way admitting that he did any of what he's accused of doing and what Letitia James has already found him to have had done. In terms of using this against him in the future, look, it's going to be impossible to find a juror who does not know that the governor stepped down. So that's just a fact that's going to be unavoidable. But the findings in a criminal case cannot be used against him because of a differing burden of proof. And any criminal charges that ultimately are brought against him, if any are brought against him, if there's no statute of limitations issue, would need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's going to be hard to do because none of this can actually be used against him in a criminal case.
Okay, so the actual report and his resignation cannot be used against him, but how does his resignation, if at all, impact the criminal investigations that are underway? I know there are a number of district attorneys across the state that are looking into this report from Letitia James and are looking into whether they will proceed with any prosecution.
So what they're going to need to do, and what they're very likely already doing, is speak with those victims who are willing to cooperate and speak with them and gather the information as to exactly what factually happened. In other words, what was the conduct that's alleged? Did he touch somebody's breast? Did he penetrate somebody? Did he just make statements that are offensive, which would be civilly inappropriate, but offensive statements are not going to be subject to criminal prosecution. Then based on the conduct that's established, for example, if he touched somebody's breast without their consent, there may be a criminal case for something like that. But the big question there becomes, when did that happen? And is the statute of limitations expired? If this is something that happened within the statute of limitations, then the DA's office will be able to prosecute him for that criminal conduct.
Last question for you. If there are future lawsuits, will taxpayers be on the hook?
That is the big concern. And, you know, I know Crystal Peoples-Stokes said that, hey, he's going to step down. It's not going to be an issue. Well, let me tell you something. It is an issue whether he stepped down or not, because he did this while he was a governor. And so he's a state actor. And it's the state that's ultimately going to pay for any actions that he undertook while he was in office. Granted, if he does something after he steps down, that's a different story. But any actions he took while he was a governor in a civil case may ultimately come back to hurt the taxpayers. And that may be money that the taxpayers will be paying.
Okay, Florina, as always, thank you for your insight.